So when you're clear coating panels, it's best to do the entire panel when possible, like the hood, roof. I'll be doing this whole top section of the fender. The rest of this side isn't going to be painted, except for I need to paint the top of these doors. The clear was just starting to delaminate, so I'll be blending color and then re-clearing. But then how do I blend it back into the lower part of the body? With this Spray Max Spot Blender. I've never used this before, but I've heard a lot of good reviews about it. What the Spot Blender does is make a clean transition from the new clear into the factory clear. A lot of times you can end up with a halo or a haze where the two clears fade into each other. So the new clear will start heavy and then fade into the factory clear. And the blender smooths out the transition from new to old clear for a seamless transition. I've already sanded with 800 grit. Next I'll do 1000, then 1200, then 1500. And finally 2000 all the way down this C-pillar to the factory clear. Then as I'm clearing this, I'll fade it out towards the bottom. Then spray the blender on that transition area. This can was about $20 shipped on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. I'll be using the blender on the A-pillars as well, down where they meet the rest of the door panel. It's important to mark the area with each grit so I can tell where they start and finish for an even transition on both sides. And I'll be stopping before this body line. So the paper I'm using for the blend area is 800 grit, then 1000 grit, then 1200 grit, then 1500 grit, and finally 2000 grit, which is fine enough to polish out with the right compound. First I threw some tape over the chrome trim so I wouldn't scratch it with the sandpaper. Then I sanded each area I marked off with the corresponding sandpaper from 800 to 2000 grit, and let it dry to check for any glossy areas that I might have missed. Next, I masked everything, touched up any faded areas with some color, and then it was time for the clear coat. The third coat of clear was heavy, aka the wet coat. To blend the C-pillar, I went heavy at the top, and then faded the clear downward so it would be thinner at the bottom, almost like a mist coat. Then fanned the blender so that it was heavy at the bottom and then got lighter toward the top. And that's looking a lot better after a nice wet coat. Now this C-pillar turned out perfect. The new clear blended in perfect. Spray Max Blender is the way to go. And then the passenger C-pillar, I was a little light toward the bottom, but that should be fine after some wet sanding and polish. It's been almost a week since I painted the Legend. The paint has been curing. Let's see the final result. The C-pillar looks good. A little light toward the bottom, but that's easy to wet sand and polish. This C-pillar turned out beautiful. I'm really happy with that. Next, I got to work wet sanding any orange peel. And the C-pillars were pretty smooth, so I only had to hit them with some 2000 grit. I've got some Meguiar's cutting discs here, and some 105 Ultra Cut compound. After a few passes with the orbital polisher, it looked perfect. I pulled the car outside for some better lighting. The Spray Max Spot Blender worked perfect. I should also mention I purchased all products with my own money. There were no sponsorships or product placements in this video. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing for more how-to videos and project vehicle updates here at the 6th Gear Garage.